Hey guys, John here from the VisiCast. This is another showcase video for Darran's Harlequins. We've done a showcase video on his Eldar army, which is an amazing army, but I did say in that video that the Harlequins were even better, and they are. We're going to talk through painting, how you painted the army. We're also going to talk about a bit of tactics. I'm going to try and coax that out of Darran. Darran you don't particularly like playing Harlequins. I think they can be good, but I understand what he's talking about. There are a few reasons, so we'll cover that. So starting off, let's talk about painting. So how did you go about learning to paint? Did you just see the models in James' workshop and thought, that's how I'm going to do it, that's your style? Or?
I read the book. But I've known Harlequins have had that checkered pattern since they were released.
Yeah.
Now the last set they did in metal, I tried having a go at doing the checkered patterns and failed miserably with those ones because they're very difficult. So I bought the book that they released with the Harlequins, how to paint them. As I said before, gives you a good idea of colour schemes, but it also shows you really in depth how to do them.
Yeah.
And the checkered patterns actually aren't really that hard. You end up painting them blue, so whole leg blue or arm blue.
Yeah.
How ironic.
Yeah.
I'll use my arm as an example. So
Yeah.
you'd paint it all blue, and then you'd do a series of lines going one way, and then once you've done them, a series of lines going the other way, and hopefully you get them evenly spaced, and you get them so that the angle that both are going forms a diamond.
Yeah.
The bit that I find most difficult is wrapping round surfaces.
Yeah,
That's really hard.
Yeah.
So generally the inner side of the leg or an arm that you can't see is the bit where you allow it to go a little bit wrong. So everything on the outside gets to be as good as possible. On the inside, you can mess that.
So the main way you learned was through the Games Workshop book, which you said was really good. So I suppose if you're going to paint Harlequins, follow that book.
Yeah.
In terms of tactics, now Darran's brought his Harlequins on a few games.
Under duress.
Yeah, and unfortunately not on the channel yet. I want to get him on the channel because they look amazing. And they have done really well. So the first time I played against them, I played my Grey Knights, and I think it was like I think he might have tabled me with them. Like one squad of Harlequins wiped out, I think 3 or 4 squads of Grey Knights. But I didn't know how to deal with them then. And then once I learned, oh crap, they're really, really good, I ended up just A, being scared of them, and B, killing them straight away. So then, if you do target them in the right way, they die.
Yeah. The point to mention is that the unit I have is a unit on foot. The problem with Harlequins is the formations are cool, but they're incredibly restrictive. So a lot of the things that you want to take, you might want to take the Spirit Seer, Shadow Seer, or some of the other characters, but if you take one of those in a unit of Harlequins and the minimum size is 5, you can't then put them in a transport. So if you take the Shadow Seer, they have to go on foot. If you take them without and go for a 5-man squad, they're in a armor 10 2-hull point vehicle, and it's a very expensive way of doing it.
Yeah.
The way I got around it was I stuck Jane's Ark, the Phoenix Horde, in with the squads.
Yeah.
So,
now that was the most effective you've ever played them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a really good way of doing it. So you have to ally with Eldar to do that, correct?
Yeah.
Right. And you were saying yourself that Harlequins are essentially an allied army. Like they come across as an ally.
I think they're planned to be an allied army to go with, Eldar or Dark Elf, but the problem is to get anything decent out of them, you need to use a formation.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you end up unbound. In which case, why would you take, a CAD or something like that? But they end up so very expensive.
That's the problem.
And you either go with them on foot and take them with the Shadow Seer, in which case you've got to find a formation that allows you to take the character and a unit. And actually, you have to spend quite a few points on them to even get that combination. In some respects, they might actually be better as just being an army in their own right. We've discussed the bike formation. I don't know what it's called.
I actually think their bikes are quite good. I haven't read the Harlequin Codex in detail, so everything I'm saying is just from experience. I might have to read it, yeah, that'd be nice. But Darran did bring some Harlequin bikes in a game we played. So run me through their stat line there. 2 wound bikes.
Yep, 2 wound, toughness 4,
Eldar jet bikes. Really good in close combat though, aren't they? From what I remember.
Yeah, I mean they don't have a huge amount of attacks. I think they've got 3 attacks base.
Right.
If you want the close combat weapon, that's I think 10 points for a Zephyr-Glaive.
Which would take them up to 4, because would it give them a...
No, it just makes
okay,
them,
fine.
it gives them +1 strength and AP2, I think, on the charge.
That's quite good. So they have 4 attacks each on the charge, and they could potentially be AP2. That's quite good.
Yeah.
But then they're 2 wounds as well. And the problem with, as we've just discussed with the Harlequins on foot, is that because your foot's slogging it across the board, unless you put James up, don't you?
Yeah, she stops
in front.
Yeah, she stops people from firing Overwatch at them. So you take her and Shadow Seer, and that stops you from getting shot at all, hopefully if you cast it. And then when you run into combat, you can't Overwatch with against her anyway.
And the reason is the mask she's wearing?
Yeah, the mask. And she knocks down people's weapons to get initiative as well. Not that they need it.
Which is brutal, by the way.
Well, it is, I mean, because it basically means you're anyone who's within, I think, 6 inches of her, you're -5 weapon skill, which means you're hitting the Harlequins in combat on 5s.
Right,
Because their weapon skill is so high.
Yeah, and they're hitting first with high initiative anyway, so...
Yeah. If you can hit them, they're with that unit, it hits really hard.
Yeah. Didn't she also have a 2+ save?
She does.
Alright. So is it invulnerable or something?
No, it's got 2+ save, but it's got Eternal Warrior. So she
Okay,
sits
fine.
at the front and tanks any shots that do get to shoot at them.
And she's quite good at that. And then I suppose after she's down to 1, you can just look out Sir and take off the other Harlequins. So that's it so far. The bikes are quite good. I would personally take the bikes over the foot slogging ones, only because, although I don't know how the formations work, because you can get, if you can do that turbo boost and get sort of close to them, then you can do that charge, say turn 2.
Yeah, I mean, if you do them en masse, I mean, I wanted to do a list which took a couple of those formations, because I think you have to take 2 units of bikes and a Void Weaver.
Okay.
And then you get that, and that I think it gives possibly re-rolls on their cover or something like that. So you take them, but also take a Craftworld Eldar formation, which is an aspect host formation, and then you take 3 units of Shining Spears and give them weapon skill 5, because they've got a ridiculous sort of re-roll on their cover saves and things like that, and they become almost pseudo Harlequin.
The Harlequin psychic powers can be quite good, can't they? So there's a psychic power you take, which means you have to roll the distance to hit the Harlequins.
The base one is the
Primaris power.
Veil of Tears.
Veil of Tears. So if you get Veil of Tears off on the Harlequin unit, any unit shooting it has to roll 3d6, is it?
2d6 times 2 is the
2d6
range.
times 2, and that's the range you get to fire at them. So technically, foot something across the board, you could shoot at them and then roll this Veil of Tears distance roll and not be in range. It's happened to me quite a few times.
The Solitaire is more interesting, I think, for its background. The Solitaire, because Harlequins, what they do is they travel from Craftworld to Craftworld, from Kamara and back through the Black Library. They essentially tell the Eldar the story of their own history through interpretive dance. So they basically...
Really?
Yeah, I mean, they're like... they're just remembrances, as the Imperium might look at it. So they basically hold the knowledge and the secrets of the Eldar race and where they came from, and they talk about, they do stories that tell about the Eldar fall and the Eldar gods. And the Solitaire is the one person in the troop whose soul belongs to Sinesh, because Craftworld Eldar, Dark Eldar, and Harlequins try their very best to make sure that on death their soul doesn't get caught by Sinesh. The Solitaire is the only one whose soul belongs to Sinesh, unless Kerouac, I think, the Laughing God, can steal it back. So he can never, he's shunned by all other Eldar, he can never actually join any other units, hence the name Solitaire. So basically, he's a fast-moving, multi-attacking whirlwind, who probably would be used as an assassin character if challenges allowed you to really play that out to the dome.
You said his soul is owned by Sinesh. How does that work? As in, how? What? Explain. I don't read Fluff, and I'm actually quite intrigued about this.
Okay, so when each Eldar dies, their soul goes into the warp line.
Yeah.
Humans do, orcs do, Tau do, but they wouldn't notice. Because Eldar are such, because Eldar are so innately psychically potent as individuals, whereas the human race may have, 1 in 1,000 that's a psyker. And then when they die and their soul goes into the warp, they are like a beacon, because they can, because the warp is all just this swirling maelstrom of human emotions and souls. Whereas with the Eldar, because each one of them is effectively could be a potent psyker if they just train themselves to do that. They do have such a bright light that shines in the wall when they die. So Sinesh goes straight for them. Right. So that's why Eldar wear the stones, the gems. Because that traps their soul on death, and they then place the gemstone in the infantry matrix in the craft worlds. And the Dark Eldar managed to stop Sinesh from going after them because they're immortal, and they basically keep. When they die, they get this little finger that comes back to Gamora that can be regrown again.
Oh wow!
To where they are, and the way they stave it off is by torturing other people, other races. That's how they stop her. She who thirsts hunger. Harlequins, however, are a bit of an enigma.
Right.
Ironic. They're a bit of an enigma because their souls belong to their god, the Laughing God.
Right.
I don't ask me how that works, but they just do. So when they die, it's kept by their god.
Right.
Whereas apart from the Solitaire, who's sort of promised to Sinesh. I think he promised. I'm not quite sure exactly how, but effectively they do go to Sinesh unless the Laughing God can trick Sinesh out of the soul of the recently deceased Solitaire.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you can like, comment, subscribe, give any feedback or anything you want to see, that'd be really helpful. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Au revoir. I was enjoying that.
You enjoyed
I was actually enjoying that.
See? That's what happens when you read stuff.
Yeah, but I don't like reading. Come on! I know how to wind her up.
No.
Tell her she's on her period. Which she obviously is right now with that kind of
That would
face.
wind any girl up.
Yeah.
Well,
Ciao.